Hey, it's your boy around the table, and that's the last time I'll say that this video. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm heading off to the airport to fly out to Atlanta. I'll see you there.
Yep, I was on my way to my first MagicCon. It was about time, right? Well, I wasn't actually going as an attendee, but as part of the host staff contracted by WotC. I have some friends from even before I became this titan of content that you know and love that have been hosting at these shows for a while, and I got asked if I was interested in helping out. At first, I was a bit dubious, but after thinking it over, and my girlfriend/business manager suggesting it would be a good opportunity, I decided to take the plunge, which is how I ended up on my way to the airport in the wee hours of the morning. Turns out it wasn't wee enough. I made it in time to check my bag, but security took a lot longer than anticipated and I missed my flight. Luckily, there was another one less than 2 hours later that I got onto, and I took advantage of that extra time to check out the airport and enjoy the breakfast of champions. 2 in-flight movies and an order of ginger ale and Biscoff cookies later, I was in Atlanta. I collected my bag from the earlier flight and hopped on the MARTA to make it to the stop near the hotel.
I made it to downtown Atlanta. It's been a long day. Now I'm on my way to the hotel, and there's a light drizzle that has broken out. It's starting to come down a little bit here. Luckily, all my decks are double sleeved, so I think we'll be just fine.
I was taking in the sights of Atlanta and even scoping out some local watering holes for later in the weekend. And before long, I was at the Omni Hotel. Check out the room keys. That's awesome. After getting into the room and freshening up a bit, I headed over to the convention center to get familiar with the event spaces. Fibblethip may have been lost in Atlanta, but I vowed not to be. It was nice to see that even the convention center was getting into the spirit of things. Although not sure if mono red is the best choice to stick with all weekend.
Whew, it has been a day. But we got in, got all checked into the hotel and the convention, got all the stuff I'll need, and got shown around a little bit on the convention floor. Now we're heading off to a all-staff dinner, I guess, at a place called Ray's. So let's see if we have any good Atlanta cuisine. This is a fun park area. And there's a Ferris wheel and a lighted fountain. And a bunch of flags. If I was better at knowing history or geography, I'd say maybe the Olympics were here at some point.
After heading to dinner and managing to make my way back to the hotel without getting lost, it was time to get some shut-eye before the main event.
All right. Day one of the convention, armed with coffee. Let's see what happens.
Now, unfortunately, it's tough to get a lot of footage of things while working, especially on the first day while I was still getting up to speed and familiarizing myself with all of the areas. But before long, I was in my element, yelling at people about that menace Spider-Man. And by that, I mean helping out with the Daily Bugle puzzle, offering words of encouragement that only someone with 2 or 3 J initials could. It was my first taste of interacting with the con-goers en masse, and even though the puzzle area got a little cramped at times, everyone just seemed really excited to be there. However, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Okay, let's address the Furby in the room. I'm sure by now you've probably seen the videos. There was a dance floor, a DJ, a Furby, and a Teferi. Yeah, there are some serious lore implications here, I'm sure. The party started after the panel with the new secret lair drops, and while the cute Furby one isn't necessarily for me, I do appreciate the horror one. And man, that tormenting voice art just gets me every time. Ah! It got me again. As the dance music died down, and the Furby retreated back into its secret lair, the rest of the day flew by in a flurry of Spider-Man welcome decks. I also helped out over at the Arcades Arcade, which was more than just a slot car racetrack. I just thought that was fun. and the avatar photo ops, and before I knew it, that was a wrap on day one. I was pretty tired and was looking forward to maybe getting a game of Magic in, but I also had bought a ticket to the Zenda Karaoke after party, and figured I might as well check it out. There would totally be other chances to play Magic this weekend, right? I met with a buddy of mine at the hotel bar, which for some reason was showing clips of sports, and nothing about the Pro Tour or drafts at all. Then we headed over to the event. The party took place at Atlanta Underground, a neat venue that looked like a street, but underground, complete with street signs and building facades. It seemed like folks were having fun, but I ended up leaving pretty quickly. After a day on the convention floor, I think I just needed some peace, quiet, and sleep. Saturday rolled around and was fairly similar to Friday. But now seems like a good time to bring up the handful of times I was recognized by folks at the convention. In hindsight, I definitely should have gotten more pictures and videos with people, but I didn't want to bother them too much. And technically I was there working, and I'm still kind of new to this. I ended up working with a fan of the channel on the host team, and at his request, I signed my favorite card, which is Whip of Erebos. He managed to find it on the convention floor, and luckily I have cheap tastes. Hey, editor Josh here. I was pulling images for the video, and I found out that Whip of Erebos is actually like $6. Like, the market price is like $6 and some change. So maybe not as cheap of taste as I had thought. It might be kind of an odd card to have as your favorite card, but it's my favorite card because I started really playing in Theros, and I'm a lifelong graveyard guy. So while the card doesn't necessarily make it into all of my decks these days, I have a soft spot for it. I was also asked to sign a fan's playmat, which was great, and so unexpected that I didn't have a Sharpie on me. Luckily, they were able to borrow one, come back, and I signed their playmat, which it looks like they had a lot of other creators or people had signed already, so hey, that's kind of like networking, right? There were some great interactions I had with folks in passing around the floor and at the Daily Bugle that tended to start with a, "Hey, are you Josh?" or "Hey, you make funny stuff." Here's a fun one. I had gotten a hot dog from around here, and when I was shaking a ketchup packet, there was a hole in it, or it had gotten sliced or something, and ketchup got all over my hands. So I finished the hot dog and headed towards the bathrooms here to wash my hands. But around here, I heard "I need to take a picture with you." They were gracious enough to wait for me to scurry to the restroom and clean my hands up before I came back, and we took a selfie and chatted for a bit. Just to kind of wax poetically a bit here, creating these videos and just throwing them out onto the internet can be a bit of a solitary activity. Between that and voice acting, I spend a lot of solo time and effort on things that I just sort of hope people will enjoy as much as I enjoyed making them or performing them. And a vast majority of the time, the only feedback I ever get is just kind of numbers, which is about as abstract as it gets. So interacting with people who enjoy something I've made out in the real world was a special experience. I know it's a small channel, and maybe one day it will be bigger, but I can't imagine just getting used to that feeling. And it's still hard to believe that there's a signed playmat and a signed card out there in the wild. Speaking of signing, I also spent part of my free time on days 2 and 3 getting some cards signed for my Mono Black Goblin deck. And all the artists I interacted with were great. And some were kind of surprised by the card choices, but hey, I love that goofy little deck, and the art in it is a key piece of that puzzle. So why not celebrate it?
Here we are. End of Saturday. It is Saturday. Yep, end of Saturday. Another one in the books.
That night after the convention closed, I went and got dinner with my family. My family lives much closer to Atlanta than San Diego, so they came to visit and grab some dinner with me while I was in town. And it was nice catching up. I even came back with enough time to participate in LobbyCon. the post-convention hangout at the hotel, where I was sure I could finally get a game of Magic in. I even started off with a game of Flip 7, which was already near the end. But before it could finish, the hotel staff requested people leave the atrium because of the noise. So it turns out I wasn't able to get a game of Magic in after all.
All right, it's day 3 of the convention. A little hoarse, I guess. I haven't tried talking yet this morning. I'm sure I'll warm up. Leveled up, got a little extra accoutrement now, so let's get out there.
Sunday went by in a blur, and wasn't too different from the prior 2 days, except the atmosphere was more chill. It's hard to put my finger on it, but as somebody who's attended their fair share of Comic-Cons, by the last day I know I am definitely pretty tired, and I'm guessing that was the case for other attendees as well. The convention floor closed, and I managed to snag a poster from the arcade before heading out. There was an after event for the folks that worked the convention, and it was there. Hunched over a bowling alley table, I was able to play a game of Magic the Gathering. It was a weird little draft. We were all playing unsleeved, and it was a blast. My return flight was in the evening on Monday, which gave me some extra time in Atlanta. I had some breakfast at the Atlanta Breakfast Club, and finally had some peaches, and I went to the aquarium. It was impressive, especially the whale shark. Not to be confused with the shark whales, who will be buying up all the Jaws secret lairs. But soon enough, it was time to head to the airport. It was a great trip, but I was exhausted and happy to be landing back in San Diego.
Hey, I've landed. I'm on my way back home. I'm very tired, but all in all, I had a good time and I would do it again. This has been your boy, Around the Table.
So that was my first MagicCon, and it was a great trip. I had a blast. I don't know what it's like to be an attendee, but, based on what I saw, it looked like a lot of fun, and I did have a great time hosting as well. I got to meet a lot of great people, share my passion for this game, and, yell at people about Spider-Man. I would love to do it again, and maybe I'll see you at the next one. Thanks so much for giving this a watch, and yeah, I appreciate you.